All right, who's going to get the LaFleur today? There they are. Congratulations. You guys get the LaFleur. Yeah.
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, canvas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome one, welcome all. It is the Lion Villain Report right here. I am your host, Russell Wayne, and we are finished with preseason. There's no preseason left. We are getting ready. We are getting ready for games. We are getting ready for real football games. And right now we're broadcasting live into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page where we have 52,000 villains strong, ready for the season. The Detroit Lions News Podcast. Joe Chapp and the boys, thank you for allowing us to broadcast onto your platform. We are on YouTube, JC Sports, as well as the Villain Squad YouTube page. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being part of the very first Villain Cast, which we were able to broadcast the game live right there and then delete it when we were done. We're also broadcasting live into the Huddle Sports Network on Roku. Thank you for your support through all of that. Faith, family, and then football in that order. That's what we believe in here. That is our mantra here at the Villain Squad because, you know, the villain sometimes is, a misunderstood guy. You know, sometimes you think that the villain is a bad guy when actually you might just need to get to know him a little bit better. And, you know, faith, family, and football rooted in that spot comes from a spot of, you know, I don't want to hate the person. I don't want to hate the person. I want to hate the team. I can love on the person and then hate on the team. And my co-host for today, Main Event Mike, he also believes in that mantra right there. How you doing? Welcome to the program, Mike.
Thank you, Russ. That faith family football has been a tradition at my house for Thanksgiving for 30 years.
For sure. And the Lions losing on Thanksgiving is also part of that tradition.
Part of the tradition, absolutely.
Oh man, but we're done with the preseason now. All the shenanigans are over other than who's going to be on the roster. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and then you're going to be talking about it a little bit tonight on your show. Things can change because right now, as far as I know, there's not any big news of cuts or anything. The biggest news is an addition right here that we've been talking about not having for the first part of the season. He cleared the pup or whatever list he needed, the physical, and DJ Reader was cleared to come in off of the pup list. How does that make you feel, Mike?
Good. I don't think there was ever any doubt. He said from the beginning he'd be ready to go by week 1. This is his second torn quad. It's a serious injury. No point in rushing it back, but the fact that he cleared pup, now he's ready for week 1, that really bodes well for us when we go into a Rams team whose offensive line has suffered some terrible injuries in camp. That's just going to help our cause. So I'm excited about it.
Man, it's the impact that DJ Reader can have on this team. I mean, it can't be understated because this is a guy that was double teamed the 11th most in the NFL last year. When it came to the time that he was out there. And this is a beast. This is a man beast. And last year, Aiden Hutchinson was doubled more than anybody on the team. Well, that's not going to be the case this year because we have a fully healthy Aleem McNeil. And then we also looks like we're going to have a healthy DJ Reader in this. And these guys demand double teams. Somebody is going to benefit across that front line. You seem to like Marcus Davenport in this spot right here where you got Aiden, Reader, then Aleem, and then Marcus Davenport coming off the edge or Houston coming off the edge, whoever the beneficiary is going to be. But this can't be understated how big of an impact that DJ Reader is going to have on this defense.
Yeah. One thing he does the best is manipulate the gap. And like you said, he commands double teams. He eats up space. He eats up blockers in there, which frees up other players. I think this is going to be the cheat code to unlock Jack Campbell. And that starting line you just mentioned, Aiden, Aleem, Reader, and then Davenport on the edge. Obviously, Davenport needs to stay healthy. He's gone 6 years in the league and never not been on the injured list. But he's fully healthy, and he's having a great camp, what they say. On the year that he played 14 games, only one season he played 14 games. He had 9.5 sacks. So if we get that kind of production from him, it's lights out for this defense if that secondary can hold up. I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's amazing to think where we go. And it's like during this entire preseason, it's almost like it gets glazed over that that our starters haven't been dressing, they haven't been going out there. They haven't been a factor in the preseason. Sometimes you just see them over on the side. And what that says, it is almost more than what the preseason game is, right? You're looking for Isaiah Williams to get a couple catches so he can make the back end of this roster. But it's the guys that aren't there that are telling the biggest stories of how deep this team is and how good this team can be. And man, it's a very, very exciting time to think of this defense now that they're moving all of these guys finally into the positions that they drafted them to be. I mean, Jack Campbell, like you said, he was drafted to be the middle linebacker of the future. Well, that wasn't the case right out of the gate last year. There was some maneuvering and some things. He had to beat out Derek Barnes, and some things had to happen to get him in the middle of that defense. And Alex Anzalone playing in the middle, or Derek Barnes playing in the middle. Those aren't the natural positions. That's a Sam and a Will right there, that where they're in their position of strength. So now Jack Campbell goes to his regular position where he is supposed to be, and everybody just kind of trickles out into where they're supposed to be. But Brian Branch moves back to the safety position because now we have Robertson and a bunch of players that are competing for this slot. Rakestraw is going to be competing for that slot corner, and moving Brian Branch back to the spot that he can roam the field and be our own little Palomalu, so to speak. Oh, man. So I wanted to do an experiment today, and I wanted to this is something I forgot to bring up last time. And this is another thing that comes along with this defense right here, Mike. And I want you to speak on the Terrell Williams effect on this defensive line.
Well, I wish I had more that I could offer on that, Russ, but I have not been able to do a training camp. All I can do is parrot what we hear coming out of camp and from the team. Dan Campbell said when they hired him, this is one of the best, if not the best defensive line coach in the NFL. So we're excited. I don't know. I don't know what effect it's going to have. I do know what an effect Hank Fraley has on the O-line. So having a great coach there, we know can make a huge difference. With his experience and the regard that he gets from the players and the coaches. I mean, that's most of the job of a coach, isn't it? Is getting the players to respond to you, to not tune you out. And that guy, this guy definitely has that. So Brad has put the pieces together. Dan has assembled the staff. Now it's just time for the players to go out and execute. And I think more falls on the players than on Terrell Williams. This guy is a great coach. If they fail, it's hard to believe that it's going to be his fault.
Oh, correct right there. And I think that you can see the effect through what the coaches have been saying. Now, you guys show it out on the field. We understand that, guys. Like, I understand that if you're going into the comments and being like, well, they better show it out there. I get that. But the glowing talk about Levi Onwuzurike and Broderick Martin and how these guys have taken these huge leaps forward under Terrell Williams, I think it speaks directly to the effect of Terrell Williams on this defensive line. And he does have the respect of all the players, but I can't wait to see Levi Onwuzurike with the things that Dan Campbell's been saying. So this isn't just a can't body here. This isn't just a guy that's making the back end of the roster. They expect Levi Onwuzurike, second-round pick, the same year that Penei Sewell came out, to be the human wrecking machine that he was drafted to be. You know, coming off of 2 back surgeries. It's like, here we go. Brad Holmes and these guys. Like, oh, what, you injured? Well, sign him up. Let's get him in there. On the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. But in this, we're going through 53-man roster type of stuff here today. Let's go into the comments right here. I haven't even said hello to everybody yet. We had some of these peeps in the morning. I love it. We had Henry Gray. Good morning, Henry Gray. Good morning, Fred Peterson. It's a great day to be a Lion, one pride. Finally, preseason is over. We can get back to football. Man, Henry in there again. Right said, Fred. Good morning to Davey. Right there. And these were all of the people that got to witness the LaFleur, Mike. They didn't get that. Not everybody gets to witness the LaFleur. That comes in before the Lion Villain Squad automatically throws its YouTube channel out there. I got a little, automatic guy that comes out. These are the guys that are in before and they get the experience the LaFleur. And maybe sometime later this week, I'll let the regular audience but you have to get here early in order to experience the LaFleur. And you don't know what the LaFleur is until you've experienced the LaFleur. What do you think of the LaFleur, Mike?
Here's what I think.
Oh, good stuff. This is good stuff. So, Pride of Detroit came out with their, I got the wrong damn one in here. Where is it at? But they have all of the 50 or all the 90 men roster. And what I was going to do, I was going to kind of go through their roster thing and predicting the toughest roster cuts. No. Where is it at? Maybe it is on this one. I gotta find it. What are the main roster cuts going to be? Damn it, I had it on here. Mike, talk to them for a minute so I can find this thing.
Don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m., it's the Main Event Football Show hosted by yours truly and produced by Russell Wayne. We're going to be talking about my projections for the 53-man roster, not necessarily what someone else is guessing, because I went and looked at last year's 53-man final roster, and I counted up the amount of players they kept at each position. For example, they only kept 5 wide receivers going into the season last year. So that's going to help us determine our 53-man projection. Of course, the real cuts come on Tuesday. NFL teams go from 90 to 53. That's a lot, man. 37 guys are going to be looking for a job. And you've got to give credit to Dan Campbell for getting some of those guys in the last preseason game. Let them get some tape. He said in his press conference, it's hard to say goodbye to somebody who came in this year and gave their body and gave everything for you. But it's even harder for guys that have been here 2 years and they've had to say goodbye again, or 3 years and say goodbye again. These guys come and lay it all out on the line, and a guy like Dan Campbell certainly appreciates that. So it's going to be interesting to see these hard decisions they make on Tuesday. Join us on the show tonight at 7, and we'll go over what we think.
Very, very good, Mike. Yeah, now I got these things ready right here. And this is from Pride of Detroit. And it's like, let's just kind of go through these and see if we kind of agree with Eric Schlitt right here, where, and I think that we're going to get into a disagreement with Eric Schlitt on this first one, if I'm seeing this right, because you just put out a video about this right here. We got the quarterbacks. He's got Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, and he's got Nate Sudfeld in as the third, and Jake Fromm getting cut. They're keeping 3 quarterbacks. Now, talk about that right there. Do you agree with that?
I do agree that that's what it will be. However, last year the Lions only carried 2 quarterbacks into the regular season. I think Hendon Hooker's done enough to solidify the number 2 job. I would rather have a bag of chips play in the number 3 than Nate Sudfeld. So if we can get Jake Fromm or anybody with a pulse in there for the 3rd stringer, that'd be great. But they're not going to make the 53. They're going to. Nate Sudfeld was cut last year. He cleared waivers and came back to the practice squad. There are going to be a lot of those players for the Lions, but not as many as there have been in the past. This team's getting deeper and deeper. And Jake Fromm did a lot to solidify himself as a legit contender for that number 3 job, for that practice squad job. I don't understand Dan Campbell, and we're not in the building, obviously. We don't know what Nate Sudfeld brings to the table. When we watch it on the game on television, we say, this guy sucks. But we don't know the intangible things, the things that he brings to the room and the value that he brings to the team. Obviously, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes see value in the guy. That's why they keep bringing him back.
Yeah, maybe from a cerebral, maybe the guy's got it together in his head, but he just can't get it done on the field. And looking at Jake Fromm in there, and I think they can do something. This is what I believe is going to happen in this spot, or maybe I want it to happen, is obviously you keep just Jared Goff and Hendon Hooker, and you let Nate Sudfeld and you waive Jake Fromm. And then you let Nate Sudfeld just go. You let him go. And then you bring Jake Fromm back on the practice squad so he can get out there and learn the offense. I believe that Hendon Hooker has definitely done enough, because you see him progressively get better, and it's exactly how Dan Campbell says it is, where it's like the guy just needs to get reps. He needs to understand, how to run this offense. And he goes out there with the 3rd, 4th string guys that aren't even going to make the team, protecting him throwing the guys that aren't going to make the team. And he found an ability to create out there. He had like almost 100 yards rushing in that game, because he does have the escapability. He can make stuff happen when the play is done. And if he is to play backup for this team, he's not going to play backup with Isaiah Williams being his slot receiver. His slot receiver is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. His tight end is going to be Sam Laporta. He's going to lean on a running game that has David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then he's going to have a really good offensive line that isn't fighting to make the roster playing in front of him. So I do believe 100% that Hendon Hooker is ready to take the backup job. Now, would I want him starting? You know, if we didn't have Jared Goff, would I feel so confident having Hendon Hooker running this football team? No. But as the backup quarterback, I think by the end of the season, we're going to be talking about how Hendon Hooker and Jared Goff is one of the best backup starter quarterbacks in the National Football League. So there we go. With that, there's my take. I'm sticking it to it. And we're going to go down to the running backs now. And you know what? And before I do that, let me get into these comments right here. See if you guys got anything. See if you got anything good for us right here. We do got some good mornings other in there. The ones that were after. The ones that were after. Good morning to Ken. Good morning to Paul. And good morning to Elise, who says good morning to Paul. Hello, villains. It's good to see you both. Yes. Mike and I do appear on the same program on occasion. It does happen from time to time. Good morning. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Henry. Good morning, Dennis from the trailer park, the fan of the fans. Oh, I love these. Good morning. Good morning, Maurice. From Look the Poise in the Pocket. Yeah, we're getting in there. Now we're getting into some football comments. My Madden friend, a Bengal fan, had a fit when we signed Reader. All he said is clear and present danger. And that's from a Bengal fan right there, telling us how DJ Reader's going to look in a Detroit Lions uniform. Reader was told by his agent that he'll work twice as hard and make less money in Detroit. And he said, hand me the pen. He wants to play in Detroit. That's why he's in Detroit. He wants to play in Detroit. Good morning, Chad. Chad's got some good footage that we're going to be using coming up on that Dallas Cowboy game. Last year, I didn't want to use the footage because everybody was still ass hurt for about 2 weeks after that game. I didn't want to bust it out. I didn't want to waste that great footage. But we're going to get some exclusive footage from last year's game from our friend Chad. And there may even be a Bigfoot on that tape as well. I don't know. We don't know. Hooker is the clear number 2, says Tyler. Let's see. Any great wide receiver is going to be available after that. And we're going to get into the wide receiver talk here in a minute right there. All right. I think that we got most everything in there's Ken. Bad morning. My holiday ends tomorrow from Darcy. Apparently he was on vacation and he was loving life. And now he's not going to be loving life because his vacation is going to be over. We're sorry to hear that, but we are looking forward. Mike and I don't know if Mike can make it onto the show on 7:30, but talk to John Macaroon on Darcy's program, 7:30 on Wednesday. I'm going to be in the background doing Wizard of Oz stuff. Mike actually works there. I flew him in for shows. Wow. Okay. Paul Jones. From is nice. I got a vision. Don't forget the footage from the draft. There we go. All right. That's everything in. And now we're in the running backs, Mike. And now we're looking at these running backs. And there's not a surprise on here. I think this is the way it's going to be. What do you think?
Well, last year, the Detroit Lions carried 3 running backs going into the regular season, and Jason Cabinda was the 3rd back. And Craig Reynolds had to be brought back. They got slick with the, he had an injury just before the 53-man cuts. So he was designated with an injury. And then they brought Craig Reynolds back, and he was the third back. But Sion Vaki's making this team. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think they get rid of Craig Reynolds. I think that Sion Vaki's special teams ability, Craig Reynolds' special teams ability, there's a spot for both of these guys. And this is where I think there's a deviation from last year. I think the Lions carry 4 running backs going into the season: Vaki, Reynolds, Monty, and Gibbs.
So I think that it's important that we understand here another article here from the Pride of Detroit, and they talk about there's the roster cuts, the 4 roster rules that you need to know right here. And we're talking about waived versus released. And they did change the rule around a little bit to make it. And actually, the Lions were the ones that were the proponent in this rule, Mike, about what they did last year, the roster juggling right there. Well, they changed the rules where you're allowed to do that with 2 players, and you don't have to release them from the team. You can put them on like an injury thing, and they're going to use that probably on Kaminsky and Mosley. And then they'll have to do that roster juggling thing that you're talking about with Craig if they wanted to do that. But I think that he would totally do that. You know, if you release Craig and be like, look, we're going to release you and we're going to bring you right back here in a minute. I think that he played that game with us last year and it was okay. So technically we kept 4 running backs last year. And I agree with you on Sion Vaki. I mean, Vaki is, I think he's going to be a stud in this league, and not just a stud in this league in just one thing. I'm talking about a stud in this league as an all-around player, playmaker, and I do believe they will get him in on defense too eventually once he learns the nuances of this running back thing. And that was his thing. That was why he got drafted so high, Mike, it was his ability to process information. It wasn't like, oh, wow, he's a great running back. Oh, wow, he's a great safety. It's like, man, this guy can learn, and he can learn quick. So he came in and got the special teams. I mean, he would make this team. If he wasn't a running back, he would make this team off of special teams alone. He is going to be a high-end special teamer, but he's already learning nuances and looking like a playmaker in the running game. And that is a valuable player because once he gets done with that, they can cross-train him at safety. He can hit. And that was his thing. He might not have been in the right place at all the right times on defense last year, but when he hit you, he made sure that you remember that Vaki hit you.
At the very least, they'll keep him around for his beautiful singing voice.
Yeah, and then he's got the singing voice. That holds a special place in our heart, us being singers here. And yeah, he's got the voice of an angel. I was wanting Elise to get on that one right there. I don't know how you could really make that into a meme, but like from Step Brothers right there with Dan Campbell being like, you have the voice of an angel.
One thing Scotty Montgomery, running backs coach, talked to this week, and he said that on the second time that they met Vaki, when they brought him in for a house visit into Allen Park, he was amazed that he had 80% of all on. He drew them were going to be used against that. So he showed his football IQ. That was part of the selling point, and that's what just IQ that Vaki seems to have.
That football IQ, baby. And that's probably what's going to keep those guys on the team. And you look at the other guys, and it's not really a big surprise, right? You know, you're looking at Jamar Jefferson. I mean,
when I'm looking at this graphic, though, Russ, they have running backs 4, and they have Zonovan Knight and Jake Funk crossed out, but they have Jamar Jefferson not crossed out.
He is crossed out.
5. Oh, he is crossed out from my view.
He is crossed out. Yep.
So Jamar Jefferson has been released from this team. He didn't make the 53 last year. He cleared waivers, and we brought him back. He's a 7th-round draft pick by Brad Holmes. So I expect if he clears waivers again, he'll be on the practice squad. Thought Jake Funk didn't look bad in yesterday's preseason game. I thought he looked pretty good 2 days ago. He had a touchdown. So it's going to be hard, but you can't keep them all. I mean, these guys had to know coming into camp it would take an injury or something for them to even make this team.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell said as much too when he was in his presser. He said, it might be a tough pill for some of these guys to swallow, but it's the 69 guys on the roster. Really, it extends out into the practice squad, and he said as much to say, if you are on our practice squad, you're going to play. At some point in time, we are going to call you up, and we are going to need you to take meaningful snaps on this team. So they really do take that practice squad serious, and as an extra depth chart, going deeper. And Jamar Jefferson's been on this team since he was drafted. I think that he was off the team and went. I don't know if he went to a different practice squad for a little while, but he made his way back here. He was a 7th round pick. He knows the offense. And in a pinch, if we had catastrophic injuries all the way down to where he would be useful, they would call him up, and he knows the offense. I mean, I think that they trust him to hand the ball off to him and know where to run behind our offensive line. So I agree with you on that, Mike, because it's so important that you keep those guys. And the thing is, are you going to be able to keep 2 of those guys for the practice squad? That would be a good question too. But we don't have to answer that quite yet. But I like this list right there as we get into wide receivers here. And this is probably the most intriguing, maybe beside cornerback on this roster, is the wide receiver. Are we going to keep 4? We're going to keep 5? It seems like a lot of people think that we're just going to keep 4 wide receivers. That's not enough wide receivers, is it, Mike?
Last year, we went into the season with 5 wide receivers. And Jamison Williams was suspended. So technically 6. Then when JMO came back from suspension, we were back to 5 because we let one of them go. Doris Fountain, Caden Davis, even Donovan Peoples-Jones, these guys are on the bubble. But maybe because they keep Vaki an extra running back than what they usually do, maybe they do trim down that wide receiver. They've waived Antoine Green, so he's no longer in the mix. But there's 3-4 guys that just aren't frontline guys in this league that are looking to be the 4th or 5th and 6th wide receiver on this team. Dan Campbell said last week, we're dying for someone to step up. Somebody in the comments asked, are there any good wide receivers on the cut list coming up? The only 2 that I know of is D. Eskridge and Robert Woods. Robert Woods, of course, with some familiarity with Jared Goff when he played with the Rams. He's getting long in the tooth, but he's not very tall. He's not that X wide receiver we might be looking for there on the outside. I think we stay with the guys we have. If there's a surprise cut from another team, that could change it. Adam says we will have 5 receivers. That's what we went into the last year with. I think I agree with that. So take your pick. Tom Kennedy, I'm never going to count against that guy again. I'm never going to root against that guy or count that guy out ever again because he just keeps coming back. The corpse of Tom Kennedy keeps coming back every year. And you know what? He plays hard and they love him. So, I mean, if he made the team, I wouldn't be that surprised. If DPJ makes the team, I wouldn't be that surprised. Caden Davis has looked great in practice. What about Isaiah Williams, the undrafted free agent?
Yes.
His number just keeps
talk about it.
Against the Steelers, he had 3 punt returns for 30 yards, a kick return for 37 yards, and 1 reception for 17. That's 84 all-purpose yards, folks, from an undrafted rookie free agent. Again, he's not that big-bodied X receiver, but he's got grit, and he's a playmaker, and it might be enough for Isaiah Williams to knock DPJ off this roster, or Tom Kennedy, or Doris Fountain, or Caden Davis.
Yeah, and I'm there with you, man. I'm looking at these. I like this. I like that he did take Donovan Peoples-Jones off of this because if they do keep 5 wide receivers, they keep 5 wide receivers. I think this is a possibility that they only keep 4 wide receivers. And I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that there's other positions that we have. Like you saw Shane Zylstra going out there and playing on the wide out. Shane Zylstra has the body of a wide receiver. I think he played wide receiver at some point in time. And if they keep him as a tight end and they're looking for this body, I need a big wide receiver that can jump and catch the ball in the back of the end. I mean, Shane Zylstra had 3 touchdowns in one game that he played last year after they traded Hawkinson. So Zylstra can catch the ball. His problem has never been catching the ball. It's always been him blocking as a tight end, which has always put him on the back end of the roster on this team. But if they take some of those responsibilities, actually, he did have a pretty decent preseason in blocking too, Shane Zylstra. And I might as well move in, and I kind of want to combine these things, I guess is what I want to be able to do here. And we'll move to the tight ends right now and check this out. The tight ends right there. And there they go. On this list, they got Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, and then Parker Hesse and James Mitchell off the team. Here's another one of these, James Mitchell, getting rid of the 4th round draft pick. You think that's possible? Laporta is the 5th from Adam right there. So tight ends, I like this list right here. Parker Hesse's making a name for himself. And I do believe if they keep only 4 wide receivers, that they could keep 4 tight ends because they're not keeping 5 wide receivers. They don't usually, didn't they only keep 3 tight ends last year? Mike? All right. Never mind. What do we do? What'd you do? Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I got kicked out.
Yeah, and you got the delay thing going with your voice again.
All right. Well, something's going on with my
good.
internet. I'll check out and let you keep going. Have a great day, villains. Hopefully I'll see y'all tonight at 7 p.m. One Pride.
All right. So that's main event Mike right there. He's going to do the final 53-man roster projection tonight. Really, we're probably just going to continue this conversation on his show tonight because I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of going through which guys are here. And tomorrow morning, I'll end up doing the final 53-man, or maybe we'll even be looking at the 53-man. I don't know how many guys are going to get cut here in a little bit, but Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, Parker Hesse. I'm so glad to see someone put him on this list because Parker Hesse's he's a guy that can play fullback too. He's that guy that is more of a blocking type of tight end. You probably won't see him catch too many passes as a tight end. So he's like your extra man in, 3 tight end sets when you're trying to get big out there. Paul Jones likes Brock Wright. We can always keep an extra lineman to block in the tight end position. And I don't think that there's a lineman that's as good as our tight ends. I think our tight ends are, all 4. I mean, even into James Mitchell, I think all of those guys that are behind Sam Laporta are decent. Those guys are quality guys that know our offense, and that might be a tough one. But moving into the offensive tackles here, let's see what else we got. Nothing. Taylor Decker, Panay Sewell, Dan Skipper, Colby Sorsdahl, Giovanni Manu. That's pretty much what it is. And we liked our depth from last year. Dan Skipper came in and spelled our offensive line when it needed to be spelled. Colby Sorsdahl is a developing player who's gotten a lot better this year. It's good to see out of the William and Mary product from last year. Giovanni Manu, that's a Giovanni Manu's gotten a lot better. I mean, you can see the guy making obvious mistakes when he's out there, but you can't teach what he has. When he blocks somebody, he destroys them. Like that is a big, big dude right there. A dude. Giovanni Manu. He's got the name Man in his name. And that should tell you all about it right there. But no, they get big right there. They're developing these players, and they have a track record. If guys stay on here long enough, that the players that they bring in, that they see as developmental pieces, they develop, and they're successful at developing. And there's way more successful of developing players than there is that don't get developed and play well. So I like that tackle room. Like that tackle room. We got the depth. Interior offensive lineman. Frank the Tank. Graham Glasgow. Kevin Zeitler. Coyote Awasika. There we go. Now, there's been some rumblings, and there's a couple of these guys that, like Kingsley and Michael Neese, played well. Like, a lot of these guys played well in preseason. These are going to be hard cuts right here. Some of them didn't play so well. Some of them made some mistakes. But one thing is for sure, we know who our starters are, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing right there. I love those interior offensive linemen right there. Would you like to see one of these other guys make it through? How many of the deep cut fans do we have out there? Best offensive line in the NFL. Only one backup interior offensive lineman seems questionable. I don't know which one you would be talking about. I don't see. I mean, Awasika's proven. Awasika's proven every single time a guard went down, a guy came in and played good. I mean, he didn't play perfect, but we're talking about backups here, guys. We just need a guy that's not going to be leaving a glaring hole. And Awasika never left a glaring hole in there. Yeah, he let some. It wasn't perfect play, but like you say, it's a backup. It's a backup. And remember that Graham Glasgow plays all three positions, so he actually backs up. He's the first backup on center, and he can move to either side depending on the injury. So that's very, very that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Awasika hasn't gotten a run at the starter training camp as Neese and Igua Khan did, but the Lions have a firm grasp on what he can do. So we already know who Awasika is. So that's why those other guys were getting the starts. We're getting into the defense right here. Getting into the defense. Look at that. Look at that defensive line. Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike, Kyle Pecco, Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo. That's solid from top to bottom. That's crazy. I mean, if what they're saying about Levi Onwuzurike is true, then and Kyle Pecco was a beast in Tennessee, and he was brought over with Terrell Williams. Broderick Martin's our developmental guy that's been playing better under Terrell Williams, and Mekhi Wingo, the draft pick. Obviously, you're going to keep him, but that is stout. That is stout all the way through. All of those guys could be special on there. And if you don't believe in Levi Onwuzurike, that's fine. I don't care if you believe in him or not. The thing is Dan Campbell spoke highly of this guy, and he don't blow smoke. And the fact that you didn't see Levi Onwuzurike in preseason should tell you everything that you need to know about their confidence in him. So I believe in Levi Onwuzurike. And I don't believe in Levi Onwuzurike because I watched a whole bunch of Levi Onwuzurike tape, and I'm like, yeah, Levi Onwuzurike. I was watching him doing the bends and being violent. I didn't see that. I just know that I trust what the coaching staff says. because they don't blow smoke. If he wasn't playing well, they wouldn't have talked about him. And if he wasn't playing well, he sure as hell would have been out there during preseason competing with these other guys. The fact that he wasn't out there means that he already won. He's been winning in practice, and you don't need to see him. And you don't need to put tape out there for offenses to game plan against if he is doing that well. So, best O-line in the NFL, facts, but he's only one guy. I kind of thought we'd have another name in that room. That's all. Yeah. He believes in Levi. Zeitler's comments made me believe in Levi. That's right there. You like that? If I had my drops, that's what it is right there. Zeitler's comments. This is another pro. Zeitler didn't have to say that. He wants to make people feel good. He's just going to start shouting names out. He said that we got two $20 million defensive linemen, not named Aiden Hutchinson, on our team, because he's got to block these guys. And they play with violence. That's what Levi Onwuzurike was drafted for. He was the best pass rushing interior defensive lineman from that draft. And just couldn't get on the field. Lower back problems. Had 2 back surgery. I thought his career was over. I mean, kudos to Levi Onwuzurike. I am a huge Levi Onwuzurike supporter for this year. I would love to see a story like that. I love, especially on this show, Faith, Family, and Football. When it's faith, family, and football, you got to have a lot of belief in yourself to come back from 2 back surgeries. And if you're watching right now, like some of the 36 people that I'm looking at right now, hit that like button. If you like football content, you like Detroit Lions, shoot. Even if you like the Green Bay Packers or one of those other teams, we invite all of the trash talk on here because we keep everything in perspective. Right here, it's faith, family, and then football. See, I don't have to dislike you as a person. If you like the Packers, I can love on you as a person, and I can think your team sucks. I don't have to like your team, but I can like the person. I can enjoy good football conversation because we usually get through the trash talk pretty quick and get to the meat and potatoes pretty quick. You want to throw some SOL stuff out there, you want to throw a little bit of trash talk in there, that's fine. We don't mind that. They've deserved that. They're earning their way out of that. And I say we own that. We're the same old Lions now. You don't like the same old Lions now. The same old Lions sweep the Vikings. The same old Lions win in Lambeau every time that we play. The same old Lions have winning seasons every year. Same old Lions. The new same old Lions underneath Dan Campbell. Yeah, we can have confidence. Don't let any of these guys bring you down. 22-8 since they started getting this train rolling. So believe that. You can believe in Levi Onwuzurike because they said. I think our D-line is going to be crazy. All the teams got to beware. Adam, yeah. Adam, my bad. About the like, I got caught up in talking football. Hey, you're good. You don't have to like it if you don't want to. I'm just saying that we do this, and the more people that like the program means that we can do this every day. I want to be able to do this every day. And the fact that you guys come on here and enjoy talking football with me gives me the ability to do this every day. And but those likes and those comments, when you guys have a conversation in the comments and you guys are helping with the engagement on here, you guys are helping, and I appreciate it. We love it. We love every minute. Elise says new SOL meaning superior offensive line. I love it. I love it. So Jeremy says there are 5 tight ends on the roster. I sat at least 3. You say at least 3 make it. I think we were talking about that a little bit earlier. I think that we can get 4 on here, Jeremy. If they only keep 4 wide receivers, they may keep the big X may be in the tight end room. So I like Saint Zylstra as an X. The guy can jump up and get the ball. He has experience in that spot. He did have a bad drop on a screen, though. Can't drop screens, but anyway, we're on defensive tackles now. So defensive tackle wise, I love this room. I don't know about any of these guys making it. You think Chris Smith was doing well. Maybe we can get one of these guys to get through the practice squad, but I don't think so. Maybe Chris Smith makes it through to get to the practice squad, but all 6 of those guys are tough. Look at that. You bringing back DJ Reader. That's gonna be something to handle. DJ Reader next to Aleem McNeil. That's destruction. Let's get into these defensive ends. Aiden Hutchinson. There is something about the Detroit Lions and third-year players, third years in the defense, and it's scary to think that Aiden Hutchinson, coming off 15 sacks, which includes the playoffs, is got a chance to make his real jump. This third-year jump, I think, for him is going to be very noticeable. I think that he's got his regimens down, he's got his preparations down, and this guy is going to steadily increase as one of the better players in the NFL. He may take his step into a top 5. That's how great I believe Aiden Hutchinson can be. And then they got Marcus Davenport, Josh Paschal, James Houston, Isaac Ukwu, and Mitchell Agude, Matthew Betts. All 3 of these guys have a chance to make it through to the practice squad, but I don't know, man. I think that you may want to consider keeping one of these guys with that. I don't know if I totally agree with the defensive ends right here, because if they are going to keep guys, I think it's the defense that's been stepping up, at least from what we've seen in preseason. And Matthew Betts seems to make plays when he's out there. He seems to have that big, relentless motor, and I'm rooting for this guy to make the team, because I know that Jeremy Ballbrick loves himself some Matthew Betts. And he's got Davenport, Hutch, Paschal, Ukwu, Betts, or Houston is the question. They both had similar stat lines, but Betts' sack was negated by a penalty. Yeah, but Houston showed that he's still got that quick move and that he can rush the passer. And he's a specialty dude. And I think the biggest thing that Houston did, Jeremy B., was he had a stop on the run. He set the edge and was able to get a run stop. And if he's going to make this team, James Houston has to prove that he can do more than rush the passer. Now, somebody else would pick him up in a heartbeat just because he can be a pass rusher. Stop. Miss me with that. Miss me with the third string stuff. Miss me with that. That is such an excuse. I'm not going to get into the excuses. Like, the guy went out and made a play. That was what they wanted to see, is him go out and make a play. He wasn't out there for very many of them, but it was still, you want to see him make a play in the run game, and that's what they saw. Now, everybody was playing against third string defense. Everybody was playing against our third string defense. That's why it works like that's why I don't buy into the hooker stuff. Oh, well, he's got to run for his life and stuff. But if these guys are coming into the game for us, it's because somebody is injured. And you're going to see James Houston come in with DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, or you're going to see, Levi Onwuzurike. He's going to have a way higher quality of people sitting next to them. He won a one-on-one matchup against an NFL football player. And maybe he won't be an NFL football player in 2 days. Maybe he'll go back to bagging groceries or whatever it is that he's doing. Maybe he's going to go back to the factory and pick up a shift there. But here we are. This is the first year that we've had to go from 90 people on the roster all the way down to 53 all at once. I don't know. Do you guys think that makes that harder? You know, going up against and doing all the cuts at once. So, I don't know. We're getting to the end. I thought today when I was going to come on this show, Jeremy, that there would be more cuts. I thought that they would have cut more people by now. And I don't know if they were just waiting for a certain time. They don't know, but I thought a handful of people would have been gone. So, but maybe by time tonight when Mike comes in for his show, we're going to do more of the 53-man roster stuff. You'll probably hear more Mike's. I'm going to do more of the paying no attention to the man standing behind the curtain. And if you're not paying attention, then it doesn't matter, right? But if you are paying attention, can you hit that like button? Can you hit that subscribe button? Whatever you're watching it on, it sure helps the channel out a lot, and it helps get more eyes on Detroit Lions football. Appreciate that. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. But we'll see. We got Mike coming in at 7 o'clock tonight doing the main event football show. And we'd love to see you on there. We're broadcasting in all the same spots that we're broadcasting here. And that'll be cool. That'll be cool. And then tomorrow morning, that'll be the last time. When I come in here tomorrow morning, that'll be the last time that we don't know for sure. Because by 4 o'clock on Tuesday, just like Jeremy B says, you got to get them all in by Tuesday at 4 p.m. Tuesday at 4 p.m., we are going to know what the 53-man roster is for all 32 teams. And this has been an exciting preseason. I mean, look at that preseason game. The Lions sold out the preseason game, and then they sold out all the standing room preseason for the preseason. And they were so loud in a preseason game that they forced 2 penalties. Detroit Lion fans are the greatest fans in the NFL right now, and there isn't even a close second. Like, you got these half-empty stadiums. The city of Detroit is behind you. The villain is behind you. 100%. Everybody that's on our page as the villain, that identify as the villain. And our identification as the villain works like this. We are the villain. We're the villain of the NFC North. You know why? Because the other 3 teams hate us. And they hate us because we were better than they were. And only the top team gets to be the villain. So we are the villain of the NFC North. However, that does mean that the Kansas City Chiefs are the villain of the NFL. That means that all of the teams got to look at them, and they got a bullseye pointed on their back right there. And that's what it means to be the villain. That it means to be the chased one. It means to be the one that's out there doing what nobody else is doing. It doesn't mean that we're bad guys. It doesn't mean that we identify with a stupid freaking ski mask. How dare you come in here, Chauncey Gardner, and ruin what we wanted as the villain. We never wanted Chauncey Gardner's version of the villains. You almost ruined our page, Chauncey. You almost ruined our page thinking that we want to come in here and be a bunch of ski mask people. I see villains like 1957 gangsters with suits and ties and respect to ladies. And you know what? If you get out of line, gonna get you right back in line. Hey, what we're gonna do? Here's the villain. Like, here's these Green Bay Packer fans. You think you're going to come and take the title away from the villain? You think that you're going to come in and you're going to take the title off of the villain? Well, you got another thing coming. See, the first thing that you did wrong was that you told me what you were going to do. And you know what we say back in the neighborhood? You know what we call people in the neighborhood that talk too much? We call them rats. We call them rats. And you know what we do with rats? We take them out to the dock, and then we tie a brick to their leg, and then we throw them down there and let them sleep with the fishes. So if you want to be a rat, then you're going to have to deal with the consequences of the villain. There you go. I love the villain. I love the characterizing what this team is. When you see Jared Goff and Sewell and Hutchinson, and they're taking pictures in 1957 Fords, the old school class. We're old school. We're old school. All these guys going for speed, and we're going for violence with this team on offense and defense. Where's the strength of our team? Now the strength of the team is in the offensive and the defensive lines. And I love that. And I love that. Getting back in here, these defensive ends right here. It's exciting for me to look at these rosters right here. The defensive ends for. Let's get these linebackers. No surprises here. Oh, look at there is a surprise here. They're going to keep Ben Neiman on this roster according to this. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben, and Ben Neiman would be the surprise on here. Jeremy, you probably got a good take on Ben Neiman. Do you think that he makes this roster? Do you like this right here? It's the last final six roster spots right here. And this is what I was talking about the other day. Where you got these 6 or 7 roster spots that are going to be decided in the last bit of the preseason right here. And these roster spots may be competing against each other. You know, it's not like you want to be the best linebacker. They already have the depth chart set on the linebackers and the defensive line and defensive end. So these guys may not be competing with each other. It may be Ben Neiman who is competing with Isaac Ukwu, because to me, I would rather have Isaac Ukwu as a 5th pass rusher or Matthew Betts as a 5th pass rusher over having Ben Neiman as a 6th linebacker, because we only play 2 linebackers at a time most of the time. You know, or is it, you know, the Broderick Martin? Nobody's going to get into that list right there. But let's get into the cornerbacks right here. Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Khalil Dorsey, Kendall Vildor. No surprises right here. I would argue, to me, that you whack Kendall Vildor, you run with Khalil Dorsey, or you get one of those guys out of there. And I would rather keep Ukwu and a couple of these defensive linemen. You know, maybe keeping Ukwu and Matthew Betts. Mitchell Agude was playing a little bit of linebacker-esque. He has a linebacker style to his pass rush. So maybe he's the guy that they keep because he offers pass rushing ability. Because as far as traditional linebackers, I don't think Ben Neiman's it's going to be a while before he would even crack the roster, you know, to even come out there. So I think that Ben Neiman right there would be a waste of a roster spot right there, especially if you could get him to make it through to the practice squad right there. I don't mind any of those cornerbacks. I don't know about Kendall Vildor. Everybody's kind of got recency bias over Kendall Vildor because of what he did. Safety, Branch, Kirby, Ifatu, Brandon Joseph, and wow, they have CJ Moore off. The Ifatu Malafanu, they may use the injury designation, one of the injury designations for him. So that may be a little bit different right there. And this may have been made post him getting injured too. And I would guess that it was, but I was just using it as a reference from Pride of Detroit right there. But What do you think of that? There's tough roster. There's some of real easy roster cuts when you can kind of look at some of those at the back end. You know, you can kind of just, you know, see when you're looking at that, you know, like, you know, Challen Garnes, he's probably not going to make it. You know, Hogan Houghton, the extra long snapper, you know, Rashid, Javon. I don't even know these guys down at the bottom, these three down at the bottom all that much. I must bring those guys. I think there's some of the cuts are pretty easy, like these guys right here. Ty Subner's actually been playing pretty good in the preseason. You know, Pat O'Connor, this one's going to be a little bit tougher right there. Pat O'Connor's the only one I would say that would definitely not be on there for that. Chris Smith, you know, hopefully he makes it through to the practice squad, but I think that he'll get cut. These guys are all going to get cut right into there. Those three guys for sure. You know, so some of these cuts I don't think are that hard. I'm just kind of going through and highlight some of these guys right there. These guys, they're just not going to make it. I don't think Maurice Alexander is going to make it. These guys, like, these are easier cuts, in my opinion, when it comes to that. But let's see what we got in here. Push Vildor to the practice squad. You don't think they'd pick him up? You don't think they'd pick him up? Oh, gosh. Good talk today, guys. It's been good. It's been good. Good. Good talk today. It's nice to know that we're going to know who our roster is within 48 hours. We're going to know our roster. We're going to know who they keep. And I do believe they're going to pull some shenanigans on the back end of that roster. They're going to move some stuff around. Oh, Detroit fan, man, that sounds good. I'm sleeping on that long snapper debate. Hatton versus Dave. It's a stiff battle, but only one of them's going to make it. And honestly, when it comes to the long snapper, you're really hoping for the younger guy to make it, in my opinion. But I love that. I love it. It's a stiff competition all the way back to the line. Snapper, baby. Yeah. Finger red number, one finger red number, one finger red number one. Oh, 53-man roster. This is the Lion Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne. We talk football every day. Monday through Saturday. And on Sunday, obviously, we're playing the game. I'd like to thank everybody that was part of the Villain Cast, the very first ever. And I don't know how much trouble we really got in, but I was able to delete the broadcast when I was done before they deleted the Facebook page. So as far as I know, we might be able to hang out and watch football games together if you want to do that. And we'll see what we can do from that. Maybe even some wrestling pay-per-views. I'd be willing to risk one of my YouTube channels for that, so I can hang out with y'all. We won't rebroadcast it. We're just going to be witnessing it live. But this is Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Join us tonight. Main Event Football Show with Main Event Mike. You can come in and hit these roster battles as well. We only got a couple more days to even talk about it. 53-man roster prediction. What are we really talking about here? 5, 6 guys? 7 guys, maybe? That's all good. Faith, family, and football. Faith, family, and then football. We use football. We use football to spend time with our family. We use football to create memories with our family. We don't let football use us here at the Villain Squad because we like you. We like you as people. We want to love on you as people. We can love on the person. We can hate on the team. Worst case scenario. If you're a Packer fan, I don't hate you as a person. I just hate your team. Faith, family, and football. Then football. It's in that order that we do it. So I can leave you like this. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. Until we meet again for Football Talk. Lion Villain Cast. Lions Villain Report. God bless you.
Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never to sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your